public input. Okay, all right. Approval of minutes for September 5th.
So moved.
Second.
Were here any errors, corrections, or omissions? No. All in favor? Aye. 4-0. September 13th, School Board Town Work Session. We're here approval of the minutes.
So moved. Second.
Any errors, corrections, or omissions? You two ladies over there, since you were there.
Yeah. Tag team, no, I didn't see anything.
If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. The manifests are between Jim and Millie. Treasurer's report.
Jerry, you can do it.
Okay, thank you. The treasurer did review his report today and signed off on it. The treasurer's report for August shows that we did receive the first installment of adequacy aid, which actually was due September 1st. It was received August 31st, so we'll take that. And we also received the federal reimbursement for the qualified school construction bond. It is still subject to sequestration, so we're about $7,000 less than our interest expense for the period. That's the way it's been since we haven't had a federal budget. It was subject to sequestration.
Okay.
Nothing else of any consequence that shows in that. The year-to-date page now reflects July and August, so it's not the same as the 1 month number anymore. Questions?
Any questions? The other thing you should have in front of you is a proposal for budget work sessions in the month of October. There are 5 Mondays in October. The second Monday is October 9th, it's a holiday. So I don't know if you want to have your regular meetings as planned on October 2nd and 16th, and then a budget meeting on October 10th, October 23rd, October 30th. And I just thought I'd just put in whose budget's going to be presented, but the superintendent can change that, I guess. And I'm thinking of a time from 5:30 to 8 in those meetings.
And that was strictly before the work session for the budgets.
Right,
That's the regular meetings on the second.
yeah. I mean, do you want to do part of the budget during the regular meeting, or do you want to just do work sessions? That's a question.
What day you want, second?
The 2nd
Yeah.
and the 16th are our regular board meetings. So if you just want to do a budget work session, they would be October 10th, 23rd, and the 30th.
I think last year we did presentations, and then we had one big work session. We had presentations as part of the meeting.
No, but whatever's your pleasure, I'm asking.
Well, if we started with the second and trying to cover as much of the budget as possible, and if we found we needed a second on the 16th, and we could reevaluate after the second, I guess. is
No,
what
we
I'm
would
saying.
still have a meeting on October 10th.
Right,
Yeah.
but I'm talking about a special
Oh, I see.
budget meeting. Like if we can cover as much of it as possible,
On the 10th, and then see if we need
and
another
then
date.
see if we need another meeting.
Well, probably going to know from past experience.
Okay,
But,
then I'm fine with
so my question is, do you want to start on October 2nd at the regular board meeting, or you want to wait till the work session?
Are you saying excuse the regular board meeting and just do budget
No,
workshop?
no,
So
no,
you're adding it
no,
after?
do the regular board meeting, period. And then also do a work session as part of the budget.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
So the work session will be on the 10th.
Yeah. That's
Okay,
fine.
this
That's
is
fine,
what
yeah.
I think I'm hearing. The budget work sessions will be on October 10th, the 23rd, and the 30th. And our regular board meetings will be on October 2nd and October 16th. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yep.
Okay,
Good.
all right, so,
We're sure about the second and 16th.
huh?
We're sure about the second.
Oh,
and
yes, we are.
16th.
Okay, so, unfinished business, let's do the revised school calendar first, because looking at it this weekend, I noticed there was a little bit of a, whoops.
There, yeah.
So, the one we did in January roughly was for October 10th and 23rd, which is not our usual dates, so I'm suggesting that we go back to the original dates, which should be the 2nd and 16th of October. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, you can change it on the website, please.
Officially.
Here, officially.
That'll be the quickest
Okay.
change we have on the website ever.
Okay, the next under unfinished business is the Adidas contract. So you all had a chance to read that. Any questions on it?
And as far as legal is concerned, they have no issues
This
at all.
this was reviewed by Mike Ello. This is with his changes, additions, deletions. This is the, what he sent us back.
I have no problem with it.
I think it covers the concerns that
Covered
Greg and I
everything.
had about it.
Okay.
Looks good.
Do I hear a motion to accept the Adidas contract as written and presented from legal counsel?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay. New business, the MOU with the Littleton Police Department. Has everybody had a chance to read that, which is,
Yes.
okay? Any questions? Chief Smith is here.
Are there any major changes in it? Chief Smith?
Actually, this is the Department of Education template, and we just substituted our names in for whatever they had. We reduced the numbers. They were, on the old MOU, for example, non-reportable would be anything under $500 never got reported as a theft. So the Department of Education recommends $49 and up, I believe is what it says in there. So that's the major change that I see for theft amounts and criminal history, I believe.
Any other questions? No. Do I hear a motion to accept as presented and written?
So moved.
Do you have a second?
Second?
Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
You guys have it. Okay. Principal and director reports. Kelly, I think you're on.
Current enrollment for September is 127, but we do have some new students that are in classes of referrals, so I'm sure that will only increase. Currently, our staffing positions will be filled, provided that the nominations are approved tonight for the last two remaining para positions. Last year, I talked about the IMPACT program, which is a program funded by vocational rehabilitation and done in conjunction with Granite State Independent Living. They provide transition services to students who are seniors. And we have, for this session, we have 5
seniors from the high school attending the program. It starts the first part of October. It runs for 14 weeks. Students are bused to Whitemont Community College, and they attend the program there from 9:30 to 12:30, and then they're bused back to the high school. And they can earn 4.5 credits through that program. So it's great. They allow 15, they have 15 slots, but Profile, White Mountain Regional, Lisbon, several districts can send students, so it was nice that we could actually send 5 students this year. And in the spring, they'll have another academy, but that will be held in Berlin. So we likely won't be sending students over that one. But we also, in conjunction with that, they do have somebody that comes into the schools and provides workshops on a variety of topics to juniors and seniors that may not go to the academy. So we have one program scheduled for the academy, and then I talked to Barb Chase, and she has another program set up for her students. So it's nice to have that resource available to the kids. And then ESOL services, we're still looking at that and the scheduling. We've had meetings with teachers and guidance and administration to look at how we can meet those needs for the students receiving those services.
Thank you. Jennifer?
So, our enrollment number is 360 right now, and we've lost some, gained some, but it's pretty steady. The last number was 359. Our new athletic director, PE teacher, has joined us since the last board meeting. It's exciting. It's brought our whole team together now. We do have a critical shortage of subs. I'm hopeful that by advertising we can draw in more, but it's a dire need. Our NEASC site visit is scheduled for April 7th through April 10th, 2019. So we will be beginning our self-study in January. Curriculum, staff development, we've spent a lot of time developing our teacher and student collaboration, our task time, the interventions and the enrichments for our kids, and it seems to be going well so far. Students' needs are being met. Inquiry courses and seminar courses were developed over the summer, and we're still working on firming everything up there, but the teachers are working well as teams to pull that together. Our student support team met and we revised our mission. The student support team looks at our at-risk students, and we've modified that a little bit to a mission of providing our students who are at risk support and resources in order for them to be successful in the academic and social life. We've often at that team dealt with 100% of our population, and we're trying to fine-tune that to not just our tier 3s, but to our tier 2s and 3s, and we find that task time is supporting more of the tier 1, which is all the students get these supports. ESOL is in my report. We're looking for ways to cover additional needs for our students to make sure we're meeting all the requirements, because our resources are just limited. School climate and culture established. We're beginning the mentoring. I'm hoping with nominations tonight, and we'll get our mentoring program more formalized as we move forward. We have a group called the Kindness Crusaders working within our walls. If anybody had the opportunity to come to open house, you might have seen words here and there, positive, motivational. They kind of sneak up and grab you when you walk through the halls. They're responsible for that. Notes and greeting cards, they're also working on. Our athletics is off to a good, strong start. We've got some low numbers of students. We pulled from the 6th grade up for our middle school girls and boys soccer teams and field hockey teams to fill the teams. Dress code, as far as dress code goes, we met in August with a group of community members. We reviewed the dress code policy, and that's a challenging policy. And we've kind of adjusted some of our procedures to make sure that we've got that learning component to the policy as opposed to just the consequence. And we had a lot of their support. We've addressed many dress code violations in a different way this year. Technology and facilities, I know Dale might get to this, but our teachers have Power Teacher Pro is a new platform for our grading system, and it's been a learning curve. We had professional development at the start of the year, and we continue to support them during the planning block meetings, after school meetings and staff meetings. They're still working on fine tuning that, so if parents aren't being able to see everything the way they used to, we're working on that. I know that when we flipped it, something on the online version would let you see the specific grades, but on the app it would, so we're working with them on some of the settings that are embedded in code that was created by nobody that's here right now. So we're working on that. It hasn't been fixed yet. We're on our way. We're also working with a new scheduler tool for that flex block to account for where kids are, because they're not always in the same place. So teachers have experienced some of that training as well. I reported out community events. I've been attending the Crusader Pride meetings, getting ready for our homecoming this weekend. It's a good team to work with. Our open house was Thursday. It went well. I think it was positive. I couldn't read exactly how many people came, and we'll be better about figuring that out next year, but it seemed like positive interactions for our teachers, students, and their families. Good conversation with families on my part. I enjoyed that. We are going to have the Nicaraguan dance tour dancers again this week with Michael Boudreau, our alumni, on Thursday, the 21st. They'll be involved in classes as well as doing a task time performance for our students.
I went last year, it was fabulous. It was good.
Saturday, they're doing a performance at 3 at the Opera House.
Oh.
But it's during our homecoming games, so. Homecoming activities Friday night, we'll have the parade, rally car race, bonfire, and then on Saturday we've got the games at Bremen Park starting, I say 10, but it might be 11. Yeah, I know what I'm saying.
They'll talk to you.
11. I'll be there. And our next community collaborative, I still get this out to the parents. It's looking at the sports schedule and the other things that are coming up. We'll be meeting October 19th at 6 p.m. and I have a bank of emails from parents who've come to our events. So they'll be getting a survey as to what are we really going to focus on. What do we envision as a team, this collaborative looking way. I think that's it. Yeah.
And can you give a quick overview of what the inquiry courses are?
Yep. The inquiry courses are our 7th and 8th graders. We found that when we look at when we were looking at the science kneecap assessment, our inquiry scores were the lowest. Being able to ask a question, research a question, find a solution, present their data and their findings. So we have teachers working on the inquiry process, which would include a lot of research, investigation, producing products, presentations, or papers, depending on the level. We're starting the year with more of a teacher-guided approach to the practice, and then transitioning that to small group by the end of the year. I'm hoping that it'll populate our student showcase with their products, as opposed to every class is doing this. It's more their inquiry project.
That's neat.
Yeah, it's exciting. It really addresses multiple needs when you look at the way we train and support students in their thinking.
Jen, who's a support team, the student
Student
support
support
team?
team is, Kelly's on that team, I'm on that team. Guidance counselors,
Okay.
nurse, social worker.
All right, good one.
social worker.
How many 6th graders did you have to call up?
Oh, my gosh.
I don't know totals. I know there were several for each team. I remember one of the early games for soccer, everybody played the whole game because we didn't have enough players, 2 were down. So we would not have, I can get that number for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
You also have some donations, I see that.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Let me- We had donations from Tender and FedEx for $1,500 and Babe Ruth for $750 for the batting cage, to purchase a batting cage. That would be as with the gym. So we'd like to accept those funds.
So I have a motion to accept
I
that.
would love the motion to accept those funds.
I'll make a motion to accept the donations from,
Tender Corporation and FedEx and the Babe Ruth baseball.
for the batting cage that restored the high school gymnasium.
With thanks.
With
Yes,
thanks.
much thanks.
And with thanks. Yeah.
You hear a second?
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Welcome. Let's see. Now
All right, so the report from the Hugh Gallen Center, you see the goals there. Certainly we have to work closely with Daisy Bronson Middle School and the high school in terms of their goals. But more specific to career and technical, we want to certainly continue to develop our career pathways, which include our post-secondary and industrial connections, business connections, all of our programs. And then a major goal for us, as you know, we've been working on the assessment of our program competencies. We really want to start reporting out in terms of piloting a report card, if you will. Obviously we'll have to report out a standard way in terms of grades and competencies, because you can't certainly work in a vacuum, because a lot of things are affected, like class rank and honor rolls and those type of things when you move the competencies. But we'll certainly be able to report it out both ways. Staffing is complete. You've seen the enrollment. Enrollment is very positive. So right now we have some moving parts. Some students are moving from, for example, EMS to health science, and so a little bit of movement, but we have a total of 121 students, out of district students, which is very positive. And for Littleton, we have very positive enrollment too, with 92, and 10 students are attending regional. So that's again, the enrollment figures that you see now are just 11th and 12th graders in CTC. So that's certainly not a full schedule for most teachers, but it's very positive. And our next step is, because guidance counselors have been quite busy, is to get numbers of seniors and juniors, where those numbers are coming from, to see what our percentages are. I think that's a very important stat to have. For example, we may have 17 seniors from Lisbon, but they may only have 18 seniors. So that information is critical. Our CTC and industrial post-secondary connections, as you know, I talked about last time, class and introduction to manufacturing class. We weren't sure if it was going to happen because of enrollment. It is. So this is a partnership with White Mountain Community College. They're actually teaching the course using their space. Last Wednesday they had 14 students, so that's positive. Over the summer, we developed a new agreement with White Mountain Community College for health science. So students who complete our LMA program can earn 6 college credits. That's in addition to exercise science and medical terminology, which is 12 college credits just in that program alone. So that's really positive. And a critical piece of our program are program advisories. And each of our programs will be meeting next month. So again, that involves connections with industry, business, post-secondary connections, could be former students, So those groups help us guide our curriculum, possibly equipment purchases. So they're very important. I'm very thankful to have them work with us. Program improvement, professional development over the summer. A couple of our teachers participated in the summer conference in Concord, August 16 and 17. Ben Tilton and Nathan Reed took advantage of that, and actually Nathan participated in a week-long boot camp, which is designed for brand new teachers in the field. A lot of teachers around the state in CTC or CTE are coming from industry or business, so they don't have the particular background you may have if you have a 4-year degree in teacher ed. So that's very important to provide that support. And Bill Demers was a presenter during that conference. Did some work over last spring. He was part of a team including Karen Hess, who is very knowledgeable on depth of knowledge. She works around the world actually, and worked at the DOE. And that was all around performance assessment and competency education, which is PACE. You may have heard of PACE around the state. So he is actually representing CTE now around the state, so he'll be presenting. Kudos to him. And kudos to him and our students. There's a link there to a YouTube video that Karen Hess will be using around the world in the presentation of depth of knowledge and assessment. And Bill's on that video as well as our students. So that's nice to have our students showcasing that way. Just some updates from the summer. We posted again a great summer camp, again with a partnership with the Health Consortium. STEM health camp for middle schoolers, well attended again with 18 students from Littleton and around surrounding schools, which can of course feed into our CTE programs. We've had, I don't know the number, but I can certainly find it, we've had a number of students graduate from the health science program, graduate from the high schools, go on post-secondary health science, who have first been involved in 6th grade, 6th and 7th grade in that camp, so it's nice to see. And just so you know that there's a new set of competencies that we will be involved in our construction technology program. And it includes construction, of course, those competencies, but also electrical, plumbing, and HVAC. So we'll be doing more of that to better prepare students for that skill set that is much needed. That's it. Thanks.
Thanks, Al.
Okay. Dale.
If I may start by asking a question of how you would like my reports to come to you with a difference in the job title. Like what I submitted was a facilities and technology together, if you want them that way, or if you just want technology and we deal with facilities at the facilities meeting.
No, I think this way is fine.
Okay.
It works.
With your approval, we'll continue. Couple of things that you'll see. Well, one thing in particular, there's going to be a storage shed that's being built in our building trades. It's going to go outside the CAF door by the dumpster there to actually kind of clean that area up, put all the recyclables in there, the paper, the cardboard, instead of having it everywhere and anywhere. It's built, it's just got to be transported out. Thanks, Mr. Smith. We talked about a hot water mixing valve at Lakeway as a project that needed to be done over the summer. The earliest that we could get it completed is during our PD day, which is October 6th. The addition of the CAF supervisor and district custodians paid dividends already in the first 2 weeks. So thank you very much. Update from last month's report on the security film on the doors at the high school, middle school, and the academy has been completed, as well as the oil line replacement was completed. Washington Street roof update, I did receive a call back today from Mr. Rexford with Hammer Down, and he will honor that price. It looks like that he is booking about 2 weeks out, so it should be completed this fall, I think for certain. There is a small issue at the high school, middle school with wasps and hornets that we do have a pest control company hopefully coming. We're still waiting for a call back, but I think we received like 5 tickets today of bees entering from the outside. So I just want to be transparent as to what's happening over there.
That 5 bees or?
It could, oh no, there's more than that, right, Mrs. Carmino? From the technology side, I just want to make a couple of statements. One is the website updates have been completed for the most part with the calendar. There are some that are not there, but they will be there. And I just wanted to remind the community from the communication that we receive regarding athletic events. Those are posted on our athletics website, which can be accessed through the tab at the top of our regular district site or going to littlepigcrusaders.com. A lot of people are wondering why the sporting events are not on the main page. It's because we have that separate athletic section, and it's easier to manage that way. Very active start to the school year. Approximately there was 147 tickets in the first 10 days of school that Matt and I had from a technology standpoint. A lot of quick fixes, some new staff which were expected. The technology committee met for the first time last Monday. We had a company called Aptigee, which I can share more information with at a later time. They did a presentation, but it's basically a way to streamline our communication as a district so that it hits a majority of our community faster. We are in a digital age. Probably, I forget the exact percentage that's shared, but it was in the high 70s, low 80s of people actually use their cell phone to go on a website as opposed to a computer now. So this Aptigee company would be able to sync it with a cell phone, with the website, with Facebook, with Twitter, with one update, and it would push it to all of those, as well as text notifications to parents, anybody that wants to sign up. So Kim was able to come and see it, so I'm sure we'll talk about it more in the future. The admin team has seen it as well, and it's a pretty sharp program that they have. And then lastly, the camera installation upgrades, the 10 that we were adding at Lakeway, began today. And I would guess if it wasn't done today, it would be done tomorrow. They did the high school one in about 2 days. So. Yeah, they were going to stay as long as they can. That's everything. Any questions? No? Good. Perfect, thank you.
Good, no, I'm good.
So Lakeway's enrollments went down by 2, ebb and flow as the year goes on. I wanted to highlight in the curriculum and staff development piece, we added a pineapple board. I put a link to a picture there for you. This is an opportunity for teachers to observe teachers. So that started actually today. We had our first pineappling experience where a teacher during their plan period opted to go in and watch another teacher teach a particular type of lesson or subject area to get ideas, generate some conversations between teammates and between grade levels of how instruction is delivered and to try to get closer to being on the same page. So it's not a requirement, it's something that's just available for teachers, and we've provided coverage for them if it's a time where they have an instruction time. Mel and Amy, myself, Eric, we'd all be willing to cover, so that's sort of getting the ball rolling now. We too got another donation that I'll need you to accept. We got $130 from New England Wire for our STEM initiative. And part of that money, it has already been spent for the Project Lead the Way kits for 5th and 6th grade. So those robotics kits are already being used. So it's very exciting. I don't know if I'm going to accept that now. accept the $130 from New England Wire.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the $130 donation from the New England Wire to go towards the STEM initiative at Lakeway Elementary School.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Just to add to that, so part of what we are hoping to use that money for, Amy is going to the Kristen McCall conference in October. And one of the events that we found together was using a 3D printer. And if she attends that particular conference, then she gets a 3D printer to use in her technology classes. So hopefully you'll see some more exciting news from that end as well. Facilities, in addition to what Dale added, the lights, and you can see the pictures in there, are on the lawn in the loop, in the new little patio area. They look really nice. They must have gone in this weekend. They were a week behind and they hadn't given me a timeline, but they're in, so they look great. Just to echo what Dale said, the lunch monitor position has been a huge saving grace. It's been amazing in there, so thank you again for that. And just some community events listed there. Walking Wednesday began. We started a couple new programs out of that. There's a foot that gets punched every time the kids go, and we're tallying the miles that we walk, and we're going to see how far we walk this year as a school community. If students, once they get to 10 hole punches, they'll get a small reward, bracelet, pencils, things of that nature. And if they get to 20, then they'll get a GeoPals, which is virtually a pedometer for kids, and that you can hook it to a phone app so parents can provide incentives and games through it with that. So we're really trying to up our numbers with Walking Wednesday. The Meadow Farms fundraiser has begun, so don't be surprised to see a Lakeway student hunting you down to buy some wrapping paper. We've had our first 2 fire drills, and they went very well, surprisingly. The 63 kindergartners, we made it out one of these, so. New assessment has started in Lakeway. Grades 1 through 6 will be completed by the end of the month. Picture day came and went, and it was very smooth. I wanted just to say that to thank you to Sadie Morris. She came in and helped the students get in line with their cards and help that process, and it truly would not have gone smoothly without her in there. Back to school night was on the 6th. It was very well attended on both floors, K through 6. We had quite a few parents there. And then I did add a picture of the new Lakeway leopard mascot. That's a smaller version of what the mascot will actually look like as we get down the road, but that's my son. He just put the hat on. But don't be surprised if Mr. Daffner ends up missing out an assembly, he might be there in a different capacity. Excited about what it's going to look at. 6th grade's on their overnight hike as we speak right now, so no news is good news. We haven't had, the bat phone hasn't rung yet, so I think everything is going smoothly, but I'll let you know next month.
Greg hasn't called me.
Nobody's called me. Fingers crossed. They're going to have great weather, so really a perfect 2 days for them to go. And then I just wanted to update, Steve had asked me to update it in public session, that Parker Village is no longer paying for Robin's bus, so the chief and I have been having this conversation for a few days now. Just the concern about students having to walk from Parker Village because there's no sidewalk on that side of the street until you get to Lakeway, and there's no crosswalk. And that's a 40-mile-an-hour road. So Parker Village is like 1.5 miles away from the school. So just sort of food for thought, I spoke with Robin today. Most of the families are going to pay her privately. In the past, they have not had to do that. And Parker Village has consumed all of the costs for that. So just sort of in talking with Paul, reaching out and trying to figure out if we can make any movement in getting some sidewalks there or crosswalks there, because if there are students that have to walk from Parker Village, it is really pretty unsafe for them to have to get to school. I don't know if you want to add anything to that, Paul.
Just a couple observations. There are 3 major housing developments in town that don't have access across the roadway. The kids that live in those developments across the major roadway safely and are either forced to walk on the opposite side of the road, which isn't safe, or risk crossing the street in a not-permitted area. State law requires that if you're gonna walk along the roadway, if there is a sidewalk, you're supposed to walk on the sidewalk, not on the shoulder. So it's kind of a catch-22 for the residents in Parker Village. Cottage Street Apartments, the new head of development on Cottage Street, and in a sense, Crane Street Court, only because the kids would really have to walk in a kind of opposite direction to get to where they need to go to get to a sidewalk. The town is taking a position through our next grant. We'll try to address Cottage Street issues there, but Parker Village and Union Street, that's another phase that we're not close to being at. So what we're looking at is hopefully some support from the board to help us address this issue with the state of New Hampshire Department of Transportation. Maybe sending them a quick note that asking them for some assistance either in permitting a crossing at that location, and perhaps reducing the speed limit to 30 miles an hour so the kids can cross safely, and if they do choose to walk to school, they can. Otherwise, we're kind of in a situation where we're forcing those children to cross in a very unsafe situation.
Is 30 the lowest we can go? Could we lower it even
I
further?
don't want 30, I don't think 30, Union Street's 30 miles an hour, but when you get to Parker Village, it goes up to 40. And there is good sight distance there where they could justify reducing it to 30 and putting in a permitted crossing. The state does control that road, so it would be a decision from the state of New Hampshire. The town certainly supports that position, but we certainly would like the school board of the district to make a request as well. And again, Cottage Street has the same, there's only one permitted crossing on Cottage Street, and that's by the Lane House. And the state is elected to remove the flashing beacon at that location.
They have?
Yes, they will be removing that flashing beacon. The town is going to try to get grant money to put a newer, more updated one, kind of like what's in front of Lakeway.
Seems like
At
we
that,
should
but
put a
that-
stoplight in there, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely needed. There's probably 2 or 3 locations on Cottage Street where we need a permitted crossing. And we've seen resistance to get it there, to get crossings, no crossings on that street from the state. So, the other option certainly would be to, rethink your policy, your 2-mile limit. You're not setting precedent, I don't believe, in that particular situation. To rethink that, perhaps provide a safer mode of travel for those students that are at Parker Village to get to the schools within the district because of the situation there.
Can I just say something, because I managed the apartments up past Cottage Street, past VFW, and I worked on that for a couple of years to be able to have the bus service, to be able to pick up some, I don't have a lot of kids up there, but to be able to pick up the children up there, which is under 2 miles. So I'd be more than happy to work with the school and try to get that going with the other routes. You do have to go to like the planning board of the town. I think I had to, Eddie Moore, or the zoning board or something like that, just because of the development up there. But I'd be more than happy to try to help with that. Because it took us a good year at least, almost more, to be able to get the bus and to figure out how to pull in there and turn around. So, and we came with a proposal and it was passed through the town. And that's under 2 miles there. I don't know the exact mileage,
I don't know how long this 2-mile rule's been in effect. Who set the
I'll-
2-mile rule? But I think it was there when I was in there.
Yeah, yeah.
but during those blizzards.
So, standards have changed for the safety of the children, getting them from point A to point B. And I would really think that, perhaps you might want to rethink that, and if you can justify it, otherwise let's consider the way the town has been shifted a little bit as far as where people live since that rule has been in effect, and how society has changed and what the expectations are for the safety of our kids. So, if we see a kid in first grade walking to school, you know, everybody's calling it in and saying, you know, there's a young child walking by themselves, and we have to respond to that. And certainly 30, 40 years ago, nobody would, generally, I wouldn't get called in, I would assume, I wasn't a patrol officer, but I would assume that was the case, because I walked to my school and my bus stop at a very young age.
I'm assuming there's much more traffic now.
Absolutely there is, yeah. So, it's something for the board to consider, maybe put on another agenda to talk about, but I would really recommend that you might want to look at that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
Anything else? Okay, I guess we're done with the director's reports. Any personnel reports?
No.
Facilities?
Yeah, well, it's-
And no policies. Superintendent's report.
Okay, Paul, thank you for coming this evening, by the way, and addressing several issues, appreciate it. Been talking with various groups, individuals, a little bit thinking about, you know, Lakeway, where do we go from here? The topic comes up pretty much any time that we start talking about budgets. Certainly when I went to the rec meeting the other night, and they were talking about facilities, Lakeway was a part of that discussion as well. How the current building and future building fits into those plans. So, you know, I think there's a bit of some feedback I'm getting regarding a timeline is it's probably, you know, it would be hard to push something forward, although at the end the board will have to discuss it and decide how quickly they want to push something to a ballot regarding Lakeway. But I think that, you know, talking with those that have done a lot of work in the past and looking at the current situation, one thing that I think we need to consider very carefully, that is we need to start with what we have and see what it would cost to fix the current facility. That's not a sign that we're giving up on replacing Lakeway by any means, but I think it's a question that will be asked. I think when we get to the point where we do propose a bond to replace Lakeway, I think that most people, it's just like when they're looking at fixing their car or fixing their house or replacing or buying a new car or buying a new house or whatever. What does it cost to fix what I have? And that's a reasonable question to ask, and certainly one that I think in the near future the board will need to address, you know, how we go about the costs involved with that, because it will take some funds to go in there with a proper plan and an architect to look at the structure and what it would take to bring it up to the code, as well as to fix that particular structure. And then once that's known, we can start looking at other options. And I think that again, and the different individuals I've talked to, the groups I've talked to, that there's a genuine desire to look at all options. Different locations have been looked at, different configurations of existing campuses. You know, bottom line is, I think that we know that Lakeway, as it is now, probably is not meeting the needs of students, and certainly the needs of staff at times either. At the same time, I think as the board has shown in the last year or two, at least since I've watched this carefully, we have spent money on the building. We'll continue to spend money on the building because it needs to be a place where our students are comfortable, our staff are comfortable. So we've spent a lot of money on unit ventilators. We replaced a roof in the last year. We've replaced fuel tanks. We have another roof that's over 20 years old, not leaking yet, but it is over 20 years old, and on and on. I think anybody who's been in the building very much knows that there are a lot of issues that need to be addressed there. So I think that going forward, we need a plan, we need to think it through, and then we need to take it to the community and brainstorm about the various options that we have and what might be the best option. Last week, Wednesday, we had the third of the school town budget committee meetings. This was a more formal meeting, where the meeting was agenda was noticed, and again, it was a formal meeting with the possibility of a quorum of the selectmen as well as the board being there. We did have one selectman there and 3 board members, members of the budget committee, several members of the community were there. And I think I don't know what those that wrote the warrant article, proposed the warrant article, envisioned for the outcomes of the meeting, but I think that it was a very successful meeting. I think it was very productive. I think the information given was shared, and we had some good discussion. Questions were asked, and I hope that those who were in attendance felt like it was a good use of their time. And I think again, going forward, the more we can work together, the more information we can have, the better information we have, the better decisions we can make with respect to how we spend our money, the board or the school district's money, how we best manage the budget, again, in a time when certain things have happened that have affected the tax rate, like valuation dropped last year. Communication opportunities for parents, and Dale mentioned this a little bit with our website, which is continuing to undergo upgrade revisions. It's a freebie. We don't pay anything to use that website with Google. There are nicer sites out there, products out there we could buy that would give it a little better visual appearance. That aside, we haven't always done the best job that we can to, regardless of how nice a website is, it's only as good as the information you put into it or don't put into it, and so we know that needs better attention, and I think that we're addressing that certainly going forward. And then just other general communication opportunities. Jennifer spoke of the community collaborative. How many of those have you had so far?
We've had
2 so far, and another one planned for October. Crusader Pride meets monthly. Friends of Lakeway meets monthly, and you know we have other organizations, but it may be time to think about some type of a group that would, I think, fill a function similar to our curriculum advisory council, but would involve parents. So that's something that we'll be looking at going forward. Fine arts program. Debbie tells me there's more than 50 students involved in the musical this year, for the first show of the year, so that's outstanding to hear. Lots of interest, lots of enthusiasm with that. So we're looking forward to those presentations in November. Al spoke a little bit during his report about the Region 3 enrollment and the numbers, record numbers, I believe. It seems like everyone tells me that those are the highest that they've been, now topping 120, I believe, 2 years ago was about 108 or so, last year's 115, now we're over 120. You know, I think what's remarkable is that these numbers are going up even though the overall enrollment numbers are going down. Or in some cases, as Al mentioned, you know, the vast majority of a single student or single school's students might be coming here for that first period. So it's great. Region 3 is a model. It's a way that we can share resources. It's a way that we can work regionally to use resources wisely, but most of all to provide kids with opportunities. And speaking of regions and collaboration, we're working with SAU 36 with our competency-based education programming as we move forward and continue to improve upon what Lakeway has already done. They've done a lot of work in this area already, but as we move forward, as we look at the ways to improve it at the secondary level as well. So we'll be working with them collaboratively, again, as a way to, I think, make the best use of resources and draw on each other's strengths. We are working with a consultant, Ellen Hume Howard, who worked for many years at SAU 17 Sanborn, which is well known at the state and national level. as a leader in this particular area. Channel 2, Al and I have a meeting, and Dale scheduled this week. So it's in a bit of a limbo now for various reasons, but it is, some of the broadcasts are still certainly being posted. I have seen that, but they're not as current as they need to be. So we need to find out what's going on with that and make sure it's a great tool. It's a way to get good information out to the community. Today I was over in Concord for a conference on student behavioral health, mental health issues, kids, families in crisis, students in crisis, and certainly it's something that I think all of us are mindful of. Those of us who work closely with families, with students, know that we have many students that bring to school with them lots of challenges, difficult situations, and again, we're working to find ways to reach those students, to help them, but as well make sure that the learning environment for all students is healthy as well. And then I missed one point 5, comments, observations on school visits, and you know, I'm pleased with what I've seen. I think that to me things are quieter this year, although Crystal might disagree. Maybe it's the timing of my visits, but you know, I think there has been a concerted effort on all parts to make sure that we work with students, and we work with teachers, that we try to protect the learning environment, that we have activities for students to do that are engaging. And you know, there's many changes. Jennifer spoke to some of those, Crystal has spoken to some of those. There are many changes that are in progress. They're not all perfect at this point, but I think clearly the work that we've done over time will certainly pay off for everybody, students in particular. And that's all I have for my report.
Okay, thank you. We need a motion to go in non-public, please.
All right, I'm making a motion to enter into non-public session under paragraph 2, section 3 of RSA 91A:3 of the right to know law 4. 2 and 3. Numbers 2, the hiring of any person as a public employee, and number 3, matters that would adversely affect the reputation of any person other than a member of the board, taking with us the superintendent.
Yeah, and I need for at least the first part of this, I need Kelly, Crystal, and Jennifer, and Tom and Patty to remain as well.
Your second? Roll call vote.
Tim Woodson? No.